Nolan, good to see you. We're going to talk about navigating tax season, one of my least favorite times of year, but you do have tips for a stress-free filing. So, of course, we need to get ready for tax day. It is stressful, but you say it doesn't have to be with a little bit of prep. So, let's talk through some tips and common mistakes. What steps should we be taking right now, late February, to ensure that we are ready for tax day?
Yeah, so just getting prepped for tax day really means that you have all of your documents together, that you have a checklist of some sort that allows you to monitor everything that you need to have in one place in order to get everything done for 2024. But it's also important to have information from 2023 as well, just to make sure that you're prepared for not only the 2024 filing, but the tax year comparison from the year before so that you can start the planning for 2025.
What are the most common filing mistakes you see people make?
I would say some of the most common tax filing mistakes that people make are maybe not disclosing all income sources. So if there's like an interest statement from the bank that might be lying out there or something like that that maybe wasn't printed, that could be one. Or some other ones are maybe not being aware of all the credits or some changes to tax laws or how standard deductions might change. So there are some mistakes that you can make if you're used to things being one way, and tax laws seem to change every 2 to 3 years at this point. So
It does seem that
pretty
way.
major changes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you keep up with all of it, Nolan. What documents then or information do we need to gather to make the tax filing process smoother?
Yeah, and this is usually included in a checklist that most accountants will give you prior to filing your taxes. But for most retirees, this includes things like Social Security benefits, retirement income, investment income, rental income, employment income from part-time jobs or contracting, gambling winnings, any information on dependents in the home or things like that. Those are pretty much the most common things. But then a lot of people also need to be aware that if you have a lot of medical expenses, it's important to track those. Like if it's above a certain portion of your adjusted gross income, you can deduct some of those. Charitable contributions, property taxes, the list kind of goes on. I'm not going to name 60 things off, but yeah, there's a pretty substantial checklist most times, and it helps just kind of to go through that one by one and make sure that you're documenting everything correctly.
Can you share any tips for maximizing deductions and credits? This one is tricky because the standard deduction is so generous this year.
Yeah, maximizing deductions and credits isn't what it used to be.
Right.
Credits are maybe a little bit more common than extra or itemized deductions would be at this point. So you can still get like savers credits if your income is below a certain amount and you're putting money into traditional IRAs. You can still qualify for some credits that way. There are some credits recently since the COVID pandemic that have been implemented, but they were only implemented for a part-time basis or only on a couple years. So some of these credits are changing. And then of course the standard deduction is so high right now. It's about $16,000 per retiree on average with their plus 65 additional. But because this deduction is so high, a lot of people aren't itemizing anymore. So really the only main way that people are getting a real tax benefits by doing charitable distributions from their retirement accounts. So just keep track of those things.
Now, how can working with a financial advisor help make tax season less stressful and more efficient?
Well, just having a lot of things in one place certainly helps. Like if you need to go one place to get a lot of different 1099s or dividend or interest statements, that's one way that an advisor can help you kind of consolidate those things across multiple companies. But we're also more in the planning aspect of the tax side of everything. So when it comes to filing for 2024 or planning for 2025, what we're looking at is anticipated changes with the tax law, economic trends, and how they might impact your money, and then making sure that we're proactive with your retirement planning so that when it's time to draw income, taxes aren't as stressful as they could be. So we just help people be proactive, maybe take a look at the past couple years of taxes and come up with a feasible plan over the next 5-10 years to make sure that you're flexible in retirement.
You hit on an important point, though, Nolan. Working with a financial advisor, it's not necessarily about saving the most amount of taxes that calendar year, but over your lifetime.
Yeah, and we have different softwares that we use to illustrate that, or a lot of people are concerned about Roth conversion. So if you ever want to know, if I convert X dollars, what's the lifetime impact of that? So we can kind of take people through some of those illustrations and kind of walk backwards from whatever you're trying to achieve and then
Yeah.
figure out how to get there.
Yeah, great. Nolan, so if somebody does want to chat with you about getting ready for tax season, or if they'd like your help filing, what's the best way to reach you?
So by phone, 616-301-2581. And if there's specific tax questions, the extension is number 4. And then our website is cornerstone-rp.com. And then you can ask a question at the contact us box at the bottom of the page.
Great. Nolan, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.